Part 1. The day everything changed, from a boy to a fighter. My name is David. I am 85 years old today. I have lived a long life, full of hard times and good times. But the biggest lesson I want to share with you is this. No matter where you start, you can change your life. You can write your own story. When I was young, I had dreams. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to help my family. I wanted to do something big. But I didn't know that life could be so painful. One day, everything changed. I was only 16 years old. It was a normal school day. I was in class, looking out the window. I was waiting for the bell to ring. Then my school principal came into the room. He had a serious face. He looked at me and said, "Come with me." We walked to the hallway. He stopped and looked into my eyes. Then he said words I will never forget. "David, there has been an accident. Your parents, they did not survive." At that moment, I couldn't speak. I couldn't think. It felt like the world had stopped. My heart broke into 1,000 pieces. When I got home, my little sister Sarah ran to me. She was only 7 years old. She smiled and asked, "Where's Mommy? Where's Daddy?" I did not know how to answer. How can you tell a small child that her parents are gone forever? That night, she cried in my arms. I held her and stayed strong. I did not cry. Not because I wasn't sad. I was very sad. But I couldn't cry because I had to take care of her. I had to be strong for her. She needed me. After that day, everything was different. We had no other family. No one came to help. There was no money. I had to leave school. I needed to find a job so we could survive. I worked many jobs. I washed dishes in restaurants. I carried heavy bricks at construction sites. I cleaned streets in the early morning. Some days I had no food. But I gave the little money I had to buy food for Sarah. She was more important than me. Some nights, I sat in the dark, feeling tired and lost. I asked myself, is this all my life will ever be? But then, one night, something changed. Sarah was sleeping next to me. She was holding my hand. Her little face looked peaceful. And in that moment, I made a promise to myself. I said, I will not let this be our life. I will not waste time feeling sad. I will work hard. I will fight for her future. That promise changed everything. It gave me hope. It gave me a reason to keep going. I remembered my father once gave me a notebook. I found it under a pile of old clothes. I opened it and wrote down 3 dreams. Give Sarah a better life. Learn something new every day. One day, start my own business. I folded the paper and put it in my pocket. From that day, I carried it everywhere. Every time I felt tired or sad, I looked at it. It reminded me why I had to keep going. Sarah loved to draw pictures. Even though she was small, she was very creative. She used broken crayons to draw our family. She drew pictures of a house, a dog, and smiling parents. Her drawings made my heart hurt, but they also gave me strength. I knew I had to build a better life for her. That night, as she slept beside me, I looked up at the dark ceiling and said to myself, this is not the end. This is the beginning. And that was the day I stopped being just a boy. That was the day I became a fighter. I didn't know what the future would bring, but I knew one thing for sure. I would not give up. No matter how hard life became, I would find a way. That's where my story really began. Part 2. Small steps, big changes. How I started to climb. After I made that promise to Sarah, I knew I had to do something. I could not just work and sleep. I needed to grow. I needed to learn. I had to become smarter, stronger, and better. But I didn't have a school. I didn't have teachers. So I taught myself. I went to the local library and asked if I could borrow books. The librarian was kind. She gave me books about business, saving money, and stories about people who became successful. I didn't understand everything, but I kept reading. Every new word was a step forward. I also watched people. I listened carefully to workers, shopkeepers, and old men sitting in the park. I asked questions. I learned how they worked, how they solved problems, and how they spoke to customers. I learned something new every day. Then, something lucky happened. One day, I was helping carry bricks at a building site. A man named Mr. Thomas saw me working. He said, "You work hard. Do you want to learn more?" I said yes. He gave me a small job in his company. At first, I cleaned tools and organized materials. But he saw that I was always asking questions and trying to do better. One day, he asked me to manage a small team for a week. It was hard, but I did my best. I was proud. I had never felt that way before. I started saving money. It wasn't much, but it was something. I saved every coin I could. After 2 years, I decided to try a small project on my own. I used all my savings. I worked day and night, but it failed. Everything I saved was gone. That night, I sat in our small room. I felt empty. I felt like I had lost more than money. I thought about giving up. But then Sarah came to me. She was holding her small toy and said, "Are we going to be okay?" I looked at her and said, "Yes, we will. We always will." I said that because I wanted her to feel safe. But deep inside, I was afraid. Still, I remembered something important. Failure is not the end. It is a teacher. It shows you what not to do. It helps you grow. So, I started again. I took small jobs. I fixed doors, painted walls, and cleaned windows. I worked in the early morning and late at night. When I had no money to hire helpers, I did everything by myself. I also started a new habit. Every night, I wrote in a small notebook. I wrote what I learned, what I did right, and what I could do better. This helped me stay positive. Even when the day was hard, I always found one thing to be proud of. One afternoon, I was sitting on a bench in the park. I was tired. My shoes had holes. An old man sat next to me and looked at my shoes. He smiled and said, "Your shoes are broken, but your mind is brand new." I didn't know this man, but his words gave me hope. I smiled back and thanked him. Bit by bit, things got better. People started calling me to fix things in their homes. They told their friends about me. My phone started ringing more often. I didn't have a business yet, but I had something more important: trust. I learned that you don't need to take big steps to reach your dream. Small steps, taken every day, can change your life. When I was tired, I told myself, just do one more job. Just take one more step. That way of thinking helped me move forward. I was not fast, but I was moving. I was not perfect, but I was trying. I knew I couldn't stop, not for me and not for Sarah. My journey was still long, but now I believe something very important. If I keep going and keep learning, something good will happen. Maybe not tomorrow, but one day. That belief became my power. And that's how I started to climb. Part 3. Mindset is the real gold. Believe, act, become. One evening, after a long day of work, I was walking home. I saw a sign on a wall. It said, "Free business seminar. Learn how to grow your dream." I stopped and looked at the words for a few seconds. I was tired and my shirt was wet with sweat. But something inside me said, "Go inside. You might learn something." So I entered the building and sat in the last row. There were many people in the room. Most of them wore clean clothes. Some looked rich. I felt a little out of place. But I stayed. The speaker walked on stage. He started talking about success. At first, I didn't understand everything. But then he said something that I will never forget. He said, "Success is not about luck. It's about mindset. If you believe in yourself and work every day, nothing can stop you." That sentence hit me like lightning. I understood something very important at that moment. My biggest problem was not money. It was not my hard life. It was my own mind. I was holding myself back. I was full of doubt. I always asked, what if I fail? I never asked, what if I succeed? From that day, I changed how I thought. I stopped saying, I can't. I started saying, I will. I stopped asking, why is life so hard? And started asking, what can I do today to get better? This new way of thinking helped me grow faster. I made new goals. I worked with more energy. I smiled more. I believed in myself. I also learned 4 big lessons on this journey. First, your friends shape your future. If you spend time with people who complain or do nothing, you will become like them. If you spend time with people who dream big, you will grow too. So, I chose my friends carefully. Second, discipline is stronger than motivation. Motivation is a feeling. It comes and goes. But discipline is a habit. It helps you get up early, work hard, and keep going even on bad days. Third, never compare yourself to others. Everyone has a different story. Some people start rich, some start poor. But what matters is not where you start, it's where you're going. I focused on my own journey. Fourth, dream big, but start small. A big dream can feel scary. But if you take one small step each day, your dream will get closer. Small steps build strong habits. With this mindset, I started my own repair business. At first, it was just me. Then I hired 1 helper. Later, I had 5 workers. My small business became bigger each year. I made mistakes, but I learned from them. I didn't give up. Many years later, I became a millionaire. It sounds like a big word, but do you know what really made me proud? Not the money. It was the journey. It was remembering the boy who had nothing. The boy who worked in silence. The boy who never gave up. I still keep the old piece of paper where I wrote my dreams. Give Sarah a better life, learn something new every day, and start a business. I carry it in my wallet. Every time I see it, I smile. Sarah is now a kind, smart woman. She helps others and always believes in herself. Seeing her happy is the greatest reward I could ever ask for. Now that I'm older, I want to help young people with big dreams. That's why I started something called the First Step Fund. It gives small support to those who want to build their future, but don't know where to start. So now I ask you, what's your first step? You don't need money. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to believe. Believe in yourself. Take action. And don't stop. Because mindset is the real gold. It is more valuable than anything else. And once you believe, you can become everything you dream of. This is your time. This is your story. Start writing it now, not tomorrow. Not someday. Today. Take the first step. Then the next. And don't look back. If I could do it, so can you. Now that you've heard my story, let's take a moment to look back. I was just a poor boy when my life changed forever. I lost my parents at 16. I had to take care of my little sister Sarah with no money, no home, and no one to help. I worked many small jobs, washing dishes, carrying bricks, and cleaning streets just to feed her. But I made a promise. I said I would not let that be our life. I would work hard and fight for her future. I didn't go to school, but I never stopped learning. I read books, watched people, asked questions, and wrote my dreams in a notebook. I failed many times. I lost everything once, but I got back up. I told myself, take one step every day. And slowly, those small steps became big changes. I started a small business. I hired workers. And after many years, I became a millionaire. But the most important thing I gained was not money. It was strength, wisdom, and the joy of seeing Sarah grow into a kind, smart woman. The real gold was never the money. It was the mindset. It was the belief that I could change my life. And I did. So, what can we learn from this? The lesson is simple. You don't need to have everything to begin. You just need to begin. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Small steps matter. And your mindset is your most powerful tool. If you are young and full of dreams, now is the time. Don't wait. Don't waste your time. The best moment to start is always now. And remember, you are stronger than you think. Congratulations! You have just finished listening to an English story from beginning to end. That's a big step in learning. You have improved your listening and understanding skills. Well done. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel. That will help us continue making meaningful English stories for you. Also, if you would like to support our work, feel free to donate to our channel. In the beginning, it's very hard to make good content without help. We do this for free to help you learn English, and your support gives us the strength to keep going. Thank you for being with us today. Now go and write your own story step by step.